Alrighty, guys, and welcome back to the Deep Threats Podcast. It is KJAM. I am live today from the basement of my house. I guess that's one. No Wheels again today. Missing out on him. Hopefully he's having time with his family and enjoying that. And then you have me. I will probably be with my family a little bit later today, so I'll probably have a semi-short show because I got some breakfast and stuff going on today. But that being said, I hope also good morning to you, sir. Thank you for wishing me a good morning. It's been a wonderful, busy morning, to be honest. Still hurting after that turkey bowl that I talked about on Thursday. It's been a little rough from that one. So, getting into it, though. I know Thursday, I was right on every game with that Green Bay-Detroit game. Green Bay, Jordan Love looked like he's the starter. I hate to say it, but going against these defenses who we could argue that the Detroit Lions are kind of a pretender type of defense. Any real offense they've struggled to stop. So I would argue that Dan Campbell needs to figure out what's going on in defense. He's a defensive head coach. Offense has been producing. Defense has not been holding their own, especially against Green Bay, who, they've been putting up about 24, 25 points a game. They're doing a good job with that. But outside of that, it's been a struggle for Green Bay. So what we'll do is we'll get into this right away today. Not going to hold back anything. I don't know about the questionable play calls. We could talk about the horse collar, but I don't know if that you're still down a score. Even if you come back and you tie it, now you're talking about going to overtime. I don't think they've had a good consistency this year when they're coming down to the end of the game trying to win the game. So it's a rough one, man. They win games. They've been good in points, but they've also shown that this team going in the playoffs doesn't look like they have what it needs to be the best team on the NFC. So I don't know if they can beat an AFC team right now as bad as they've looked. I'll be honest with you. If you look what happened when the Ravens stepped up, they whomped them. So let's get into those 1 o'clock games today. You got the Saints going into Atlanta. This is going to be a fun one here. It's a battle for first place, essentially, for that division. It'll be interesting. I know that Bijan should have a semi-decent day today. Kamara probably going to have a decent day today. Looking at this game, I'd like the Saints in this game, to be honest with you. I think they're firing on all cylinders on offense. I know the last game, Taysom Hill, like I said to a lot of people, Taysom Hill has to be in the offense to win the game. Because if you notice when Taysom Hill is incorporated in their offense and they get the ball to Taysom, whether it be at the tight end position or whether it be at the running back position or even at quarterback, or receiver, he is just good anywhere on the field, and a defense has to be aware of that. And if they're not aware of that, which it's hard to be aware of a guy that plays 4 different positions, you have a leg up. So the leg up is going to be great going against a team like Atlanta who has a good secondary. This way you don't have to sling the ball downfield. Now, I would argue that Rashid Shaheed probably could take the top off the secondary. Also that Chris Olave is probably going to play good in this game. I like both these guys in this game. Michael Thomas, I think Michael Thomas is either out or put on the IR. So they're missing Michael Thomas in this game, I'm pretty sure. I know that, like you said, Kendra Miller is out, and also that Lattimore on the Saints defense is out. So, Lattimore he wasn't there a lot of the beginning of the year. He wasn't there some last year. Lattimore's been struggling with staying on the field, whether it be suspensions or whether it be injury-based. So, I don't know if Lattimore's been as big of an impact as it is trying to get to the quarterback. But keep in mind, Desmond Ritter's in. Taylor Heineke's out. So, this is a situation where Desmond Ridder has not performed at his peak that a lot of people thought he could be. And I am one of those people. I was a huge Desmond Ridder fan. I didn't think he'd be like a stud in the NFL, but I thought he'd be a manageable starting quarterback in the NFL, and we just haven't seen it. Michael Thomas is old. I agree that Michael Thomas is getting old. So it's one of those things to where it's another guy who just hasn't been an impact. If you have him in fantasy, I probably would have tried to move on from him already. I know I moved on from him. And then I know there's a few other people that I know that haven't moved on from him. So it's just one of those things when it comes to that team that I agree there's not a lot of youth at receiver. I can't say that because Olave and Shaheed are young. but not a lot of consistency with young receivers there. I agree it's going to be a fun game. I don't know if it's going to be a high-scoring game. I know that the over-under on this game is 41.5. I don't know if it's going to be a high-scoring game, but Saints are given 1.5, and Atlanta's home. So according to Wheels' wonderful information, if it's under 3, take the home team. So, and I like Atlanta. I really do. I think I have Atlanta. No, I had Saints winning this division at the beginning of the year. I mean, I like Atlanta. Desmond Ridder against this defense, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. But I like where your head's at, Wheels. I would probably say similar things. I'd probably go 2017 Saints. I think that's what I'm going to take on this one. And I like it. I like the field goal option. I think it's a good option in this game. So I'm going to write this down like we always do. Saints 2017. All right. And then moving. My stardoms in this game, like I said, are Kamara. I like Bijan in this game. I don't know if I like Algier in this game. Maybe he gets a touchdown in the red zone because of the way they utilize running backs because their name is Atlanta. And they've always had 2 good running backs. They've just struggled with production of both. I like tight ends, obviously, Kyle Pitts. And then you have, is it Jonnu Smith? Or Jono, whatever you want to call him. I like both those guys. You like Drake London in this game. That's a different one. I mean, I like Drake London just because he gets out on the sideline. I guess if Lattimore's out, Drake London in this game really kind of does make sense. So, okay. I like Drake London in this game with you. I'm right there with you. I'd take Drake London somewhere around probably 4 receptions for 65 yards and maybe a TD. So, you like A.T. Perry in this game. I did see he had some targets in the last game. I just don't know if he is going to be a go-to guy. The question is Derek Carr healthy in this game, or is he going to get injured in this game? Because I know Derek Carr has been struggling staying on that field. So, I mean, are we going to have to lean on Jameis Winston to do the job? That's the real question, right? Saints quarterback Derek Carr has been removed from the injury report ahead of Week 12 matchup. So it looks like Derek Carr is starting. I don't like Jameis Winston. I don't like the Saints if Jameis Winston's win. If Derek Carr's in, I love the Saints in this game just because of the deep ball that he has and he's been productive with it. So I definitely, and I wouldn't be shocked, right? I wouldn't be shocked to see a little bit of Jimmy Graham and Foster Moreau in this game. I know that Juwan Johnson is the number 1, but he's had a better connection with Jimmy Graham and Foster Moreau. I wouldn't like 3 or 4 targets per tight end. I could see some probably 30, 40 yards. I don't know if I like any of these tight ends outside of Taysom Hill because he's a cheat code. So I agree. I think Taysom Hill's cheat code week, man. I think he's a stardom again this week. And it sucks because I don't think I started him, but I think he is a stardom this week. So we'll move on from this game. We'll get right into that next game. Like I said, we got a lot going on today. There's like 6 or 7 1 o'clock games, and we move right into the 4 o'clocks. You got a really good battle here. You got the Steelers, the Steel Men going into the jungle, doing what they can do. I have no idea how this game's going to go. The Steelers fired their offensive coordinator, Matt Canada, which was it's about time. And then you have Deontay Johnson blowing up in the locker room after the Browns lost. You have a guy who's not even on the field he's blowing up against because Minka wasn't even out there in that loss, and Deontay was blown up against Minka. And then you have TJ Watt and Cam Hayward trying to break them apart. Like this locker room's just falling apart. You have the horrible interviews from Najee saying it's all about me, don't worry about the team. He didn't say that. That's essentially what he was saying, is that don't ask about the locker room. If you're here into the media, ask about me. Don't ask about anything else. I just think this is New Orleans bye weeks this week either. Oh, yeah, no bye weeks. Yeah, correct. There is no bye weeks this week. Correct. But we already had 4 games between Thursday and Friday, and then you have a Monday. So that's all your bye weeks right there. My issue with the Bengals, right, is again we're still arguing for the Steelers defense. The Steelers defense has kept them in games, and I just don't know if the quarterback is going to be capable of keeping that team ahead of the Steelers, because the Steelers' offense it's not bad. Okay, I lied. It's horrendous, but it has bright spots. So it's going to be a weird one. And Jake Browning, 27 years old. The last game, he threw 14 attempts, 8 receptions, 68 yards, a touchdown, no turnovers. If you project that, and that's against Baltimore, if you project that to the Steelers, okay, I'm right there with you, Wills. I'll sit there and I'll look at that, and if you give him a week's practice and you give him time with this team, and you got Jamar Chase, and you still have Tyler Boyd, and you have Trent Irwin, you still got all 3 of those tight ends on that team, which have been popping off week in and week out, and Tanner Hudson, Drew Sample, and Irv Smith. I like it. I like the offensive weapons. I like the consistency in Cincinnati, and it's not falling apart, and they still have a good defensive secondary. So I'm right there with you. I'm gonna agree with you on this one, Wheels, which is rare. I don't know if they utilize Mixon, but you should, because the Steelers have a bad run defense. But I don't like to say a bad run defense, because when the Steelers' defense is on the field, it's very good. The problem is they're on the field 45 minutes out of a 60-minute game. So it gets run down very fast. So that's going to be the issue. It's going to be a DTR type of game, short passes, dink and dunk, screens, RPOs. I don't think Joe Mixon, yes. I don't think that the Cincinnati Bengals offense is really built that way. They're built with a lot of route runners. So you can more of a West Coast offense, more of like 5-yard outs, 7-yard in, the occasional post route. I would see with that. I just think that when it comes to the Steelers, right, they're still going to throw deep. The Steelers are going to still throw deep. They still have Deontay Johnson, who's a very good route running receiver. And they also have George Pickens, who is been proven to be a very physical downfield receiver. The problem is that Pickett hasn't been able to hit him. So, but new OC, this could change a lot of things. And I don't even know if they hired a new OC yet. I just know they have no OC. I know they fired Matt Canada. I personally have not seen a hiring of an OC. Now, it's been a holiday week. I might have missed it. That's possible. This is a tough one for me, because it is a division battle. They're going to play each other tough. It's in the jungle, which is an upside for Cincinnati. I do see a very productive Cincinnati, but I also see a very productive Steelers in this game. Like, this is going to be a weird game, because I think this is going to be like somewhere around 27-24, which I think hits the over. I think they have this way under that. Yeah, 36.5. I'm going to take the over on this one personally, and I would have to say that Cincinnati comes out on top. I kind of agree with you, Wheels. I think that they're more productive on offense. They come out on top, and I say they're sitting right about, I'm going to go 24-20 Cincinnati. I'm going to say 24-20 Cincinnati. So I think you can start Deontay Johnson in this game. He's going to have to get targets. I think Freiermuth is going to be another guy who's going to be utilized heavily in this game. Obviously, you're going to start Jaylen Warren. Jaylen Warren has been popping off every game, and if they don't utilize him, they're stupid. So you have to start Jaylen Warren. Joe Mixon's a good start. And then on top of that, you got Jamar Chase, who you have to start. Obviously, he's the number 1 receiver. And then I wouldn't be opposed to starting Tyler Boyd in this game. I think Tyler Boyd's going to have a decent game. But Trent Irwin gets those touches. I just like the chemistry with Trent Irwin and Joe Burrow over that. But I like Wheels' guy, which I don't even know if he's active today. Iosivas. I don't know. Is he active today, Wheels? I know you're out there in the chat. Yeah, he's the number 3. T is out, so Iosivas is in. I like Iosivas to get more targets in this game because they have to. So he was full practice on Thursday, so I think I like Iosivas in this game. Right there with Wheels on this one. Eddie Faulkner is the OC. He's the running backs coach. All right. Well, at least we know they're going to run the ball. I see a lot of production from Najee and Jaylen Warren in that case. And I see a lot. Now, I would agree with you on the Steelers side that there could be a lot of rollouts, a lot of screens. But the problem is they have been doing that all year. and it has not been productive. So if the running backs coach is smart, he does not live with the screen and die with the screen. It's not a good play for this team. They're not good when starting at minus 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage. It's been proven all year. So moving on from there, this to me is probably the game of the week. This game has a lot of implications on wild card. It has a lot of implications on this division. You have a 6-4 Houston Texans at home with C.J. Stroud, arguably the rookie of the year, going up against the Jacksonville Jaguars with T-Law, arguably, the most scouted quarterback of all time because of the way they hyped this kid up. And both teams are on fire. Both teams are on fire. I understand C.J. Stroud's coming off a 3-interception week, but he still won that game, which is crazy. And I agree with Wheels in this statement. Whoever wins this game wins this division. Because I think if Houston wins this game, they've proven that they can beat Jacksonville, who's proven they can beat Buffalo and a couple other big teams. So I agree. And I think the fandom's going to come out of me for CJ Stroud. I like the Houston team as a whole better than the Jacksonville team as a whole. I love ETN. ETN is probably the brightest thing of Jacksonville, whereas Houston doesn't have that. But I would argue that Houston has a very good defensive front that's capable of stopping the run. So ETN's going to have to get the ball in the pass game. So as a stardom today, I love ETN. I love Christian Kirk in this game. And then I like T-Law, but I don't know if I touch anybody else in this game. I don't know if I like Ingram. I think it is Evan Ingram, right? That's who they signed. My head's driving me insane today. This is where I need wheels. So I like Ingram, or I don't like Ingram in this game. Calvin Ridley could have another decent game here, especially after last week's game. I know Calvin Ridley has been missing all year, but with the 9 targets in last week's game and the 7 receptions, I think that you're probably going to see a lot more Calvin in this game. So the stardoms for me on Jacksonville. T-Law, I don't think they're going to get to T-Law too much. I definitely think there's going to be a lot of pressure. I think T-Law is going to be able to throw the ball. 12 targets? Woo, that's ridiculous. You see 12 targets for Ridley? I don't think he's gotten that. Week 1. Week 1, he got 11 targets, 8 receptions, which is weird that they're not utilizing him, because when they utilize him in week 1 and they utilize him week 11, the offense has been unstoppable. I mean, and maybe they do it against divisions. Maybe that's why. Tennessee, division game. Indy, division game. Maybe that's what they're doing. I mean, if you look at the division games, he gets a whole bunch more targets. I mean, Indy, 8 targets. Houston, 7 targets. So maybe. Pittsburgh, you got 10 targets. He just hasn't been popping off. He's been missing a lot of shit. So, but I agree. Calvin Ridley it is. Calvin Ridley, stardom. Christian Kirk, stardom. Like I said, I don't like Ingram in this game. I'm sure he'll have a good game just because he gets targets. They throw the ball. They're kind of built the same, Houston and Jacksonville. They throw the ball a lot. They do a lot of checkdowns with their running backs. So, I mean, Evan Ingram's getting 7 targets, 6 targets the last few weeks. I just don't like Ingram in this game. I don't know. Actually, he's been consistent outside of the last 2 weeks. So last 2 weeks, he hasn't really had good games. So, hey, tight ends week is over. Maybe it's not a good one for him. Going into Houston's offense, I think Nico is back, if I remember correctly, and Noah Brown is out. So Nico and Tank Dell are stardoms for me just because of how much they throw the ball. Who's going to get the touchdown? I kind of like Dalton Schultz again in this game for the touchdown. And then I could see Singletary touchdown. And then possibly Tank Dell. I mean, Tank Dell's looked really good. Nico's just a good field stretcher, and when he gets in, it's because he stretched the field. It's not as much in the end zone. So this is gonna be a high fight. I bet you any money this thing's like over 40 something, 47 probably. Yeah, actually 47.5. Yeah, so this is a huge over/under game. Both defenses are good. They just don't stop the score, which is weird. So I would say, and I mean, Houston did step up against Arizona last week. I think they only gave up 16 points. And obviously Jacksonville, they played a a run-of-the-mill team last week. So in Tennessee, and they only gave up 14 points. So I would argue that I'm going to say Houston because I truly think that as much as T-Law tries, this defense isn't fully rounded. This team isn't fully rounded. And I like D'Amico as a head coach better. So I kind of like Houston. I think Doug Peterson's been struggling a little bit when it comes to bringing the full package together. I like Houston in this game. And I'm going to say C.J. Stroud probably has a nice 280-yard bounce-back game. Probably 3 touchdowns. He's looking good. And I think Arizona's defense, and I kept telling people, was underestimated, so he was going to struggle against that defense, and he did. So I would say Houston, we're going to go 27. I'm going to go 30. Houston, 30, 27. No, Houston, 30, 24. 30, 24. That's what I like. We'll see what happens here. You said Houston by 6. I said Houston by 6. Wow. Houston is only being given 1.5. Jacksonville is favored in this game. So Houston by 6, I mean, I like that. Now moving on from Jacksonville, going into Tampa Bay. I heard this funny joke today, and I don't know if it's too funny for live, but it's like watching Chips live. Baker Mayfield against Gardner Minshew. I think it's kind of funny. Sorry. I think Baker Mayfield is going to continue to struggle. Like every game he's lost, he's had like an under 80 quarterback rating. Baker Mayfield throwing interceptions. They're forcing the ball. They're not using the run game as much as they should be using, and I just think they're struggling. So, and I like Indy. I think they're coming off a bye last week. Yeah, I think Indy's coming off a bye. So I like Indy refreshed with Gardner, with an extra week of practice. Josh Down, Michael Pittman. Alec Pierce has been getting more targets. They're using all their tight ends in this offense. And then Jonathan Taylor has been looking great in every game. So I think when you're looking at the team as a whole, it's Gardner's team at this point. I'm gonna make this one simple and easy. There's a lot of implications with Indy. Tampa Bay is barely in the mix in that division, which is pretty bad because it is a bad division. But if Tampa Bay wins, they're kind of in the mix. They're at 2. So, and I would argue Indy, if they win, they're also possibly going to be close to that 2 spot. So, Moss is now irrelevant. Zach Moss. I don't know if he's irrelevant. I just don't know. I don't know what they're doing, right? Like, it's kind of weird. It's one of those situations to where, like, you could use both backs and throw the ball less. But if you're going to let Gardner sling it, let Gardner sling it. It's the highest scoring. It's like the second highest scoring offense in the league right now. The Indianapolis Colts are putting up points left and right, which is why I'm going to take the over on this game probably, depending on what the over is. Where's it at? Tampa Bay. Where's it at? There it is. 45.5. They changed it. It went from 42 to 45.5. Colts are favored by 2.5 at home. I would agree with this. I'm going to go Indy, and it's going to be a high-scoring game. I'm going to say 35 Indy, 24 Tampa Bay. I'm taking a huge spread for Indy. I think Indy is that much better of a team than Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay has been struggling with the secondary. Antoine Winfield has been struggling covering these receivers downfield. It's going to be a tough game. So I'm going to go, I said 35-24 Indy. Stardom's in this game for me. I have to start Mike Evans. He's been productive. He's been the guy on that team. So I have to start Mike Evans. They're going to need to utilize Cade Otton in this game if they want to win the game. I think that Baker, I mean, you kind of have to start Baker at this point, especially in a super flex. But Baker's been turning over the ball consistently. Now, Minshew on the other side of the field, right? Minshew, he does nothing but turn over the ball, but for some reason, he is very productive on this team. Also, Indy is like a top 10 team in takeaways, so that's why I don't like Baker in this game. I would say Minshew is startable just because the amount of points you're going to put up, plus he has that capability, if you watch the Browns game, of him rushing it in if they're close to the goal line. I think you have to start Minshew in this game. Now, Josh Downs, I love. Pittman, I love. Alec Pierce, I don't like enough to start, but in a deep league, you could, but there's no bye weeks this week, so I don't know if I start him. When it comes to their tight end, I'm trying to think. They have 2 different tight ends. They have, is it Will Mallory? Or is that Tennessee? No, they have Will Mallory, who's been more productive as of recent. He's getting two targets per game. And then you have Kyle Granson, who's been more productive, 2 targets a game. And then you still have Jelani Woods, who has been he's still been injured. So Jelani Woods is still out. Ogletree, I keep forgetting Ogletree gets that occasional like touchdown just randomly. So I like Ogletree. I don't know. Like this is a hard offense because Minshew's shown that he throws to the open man. He just throws to the open man. So whoever can get open, they're getting the ball. I mean, I think Isaiah McKenzie had a touchdown recently, right? Oh, no, he didn't. He had a big play, I thought. Oh, I think it was a kick return, I feel like. I think it was a kick return again. But yeah, like they're good at just getting the ball to the open man, and I like that. And I really do like Josh Downs in this game. I just think he's a good underneath receiver. Alec Pierce, good deep ball receiver. And then like I said, Michael Pittman, who's just been consistently their number one receiver. He gets 12 to 13 targets a game. And then you're looking at Josh Downs, who's getting close to the same amount of targets. So I think both those guys are definitely startable. Josh Downs looked like he was coming off a couple rough games with New England. He didn't play. Yeah, New England. I think he got hurt in Carolina because I remember him being out, and then he was struggling in New England. So then I think he's back healthy, and I think that lets this offense fire on all cylinders. So it's gonna be I think a fun game. This would be a fun game to watch. I actually was looking at these games this week. There's like really good games to watch, and there's some really bad games to watch. Speaking of really bad games to watch, you got the New England Patriots going against the New York Giants, who, by the way, the New York Giants showed up in their last game, put up a whole bunch of points against Washington and beat Washington. Unexpected. Nobody thought that was going to happen. Washington is reason why Washington is firing coaches now. I would say this game is, I don't like anybody in this game. You can, I think, is it Tim Boyle? Is there a quarterback who actually played ridiculous last week, right? No, not Tim Boyle. What's his name? Is it? Oh, this is DeVito. This is DeVito. Sorry. Tommy DeVito. Tommy DeVito, man. I don't know what to say. He's thrown 3 picks and he's thrown 6 touchdowns in 3 games. I don't know what to say. And he ran for 1 touchdown. So he's 7-3. I'm taking the Giants 2 wheels. I'm right there with you. I'm taking the Giants 2. Tommy DeVito played phenomenal. 18 for 26, 246 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. I mean, I kind of like the kid out of Illinois. He makes me want to eat chicken parmesan and sit down and watch football and hang out with the family. That's what he does to me. I like the guy. I agree. And also, the New York Giants defense isn't that bad. I mean, they've been playing better and better week in and week out. I don't like the team as a whole. There's no reason to talk about this game anymore outside of you're starting Saquon Barkley and you're probably starting Zeke Elliott, maybe starting Ramondre, and that's it. You might want to start the tight ends over there in New England because you have Gesicki, and then you have, Hunter Henry, and then you have Gesicki, Hunter Henry, and Farrell Brown, who have been just all getting targets. Oh, yeah, your boy Demario Douglas. Let's not forget about Demario Douglas, who's kind of shown to be the number one. Demario Douglas is definitely startable. But again, the Giants took the ball away 5 times against Washington. Like, that's kind of ridiculous. And if Mac does the same crap, like, you might want to start the Giants defense, which is weird to say. Weird to say this year, but I'd probably start the Giants defense. I kind of like that. The Patriots don't give up a lot to running backs, but any running back that can catch, they suck against. So let's be honest there. You can start Saquon in this game. So those are my stardoms in this game. I don't know if can you start DeVito? Can you? I think you can. I think you could start DeVito this week And he might be like a Minshew kind of play. Like, he might pop off, or he might be the worst quarterback out there. And against New England, who, again, you do have one of the greatest defensive coordinators / coaches of all time, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see what DeVito can do. And I don't know how much film Belichick has on DeVito to kind of take away his best things, because there's not a lot of film in the NFL on DeVito. You can go back to his college film, but there's different teams around him, so it's going to be a little different. In an SF Superflex. Yeah, no, I don't know in a Superflex, because I know a lot of people in regular leagues, when they're hoarding quarterbacks and stuff like that, that they might have like one of our teams, right? They've got Josh Allen and Tua like on their team. What are you supposed to do in that situation? I mean, if you need a quarterback, I think he's probably sitting on the waiver wire, and I think he's startable. If you're in a 14-man league, I think he's startable. I think he's a top 15 quarterback possibly coming out of this with fantasy points. Not a top 15 quarterback of the league. Hold on a second for all you people out there who heard me say that and freaked out. And it's mainly because, like, New England gives up points, and I think I saw the stat that the two worst scoring teams in the NFL that went head-to-head the last 3 years, the over-under on the game has been like 55 points. So this could be a high-scoring game. The over-under is 34. This could actually be a high-scoring game. It'd be interesting. I'm taking the Giants in this game, and I don't know what I want to take for the actual point spread, because I think it's going to be really weird. I'm going to go high. I'll have fun and go high. I'll go like medium high. I'll go 24-17 Giants. 24-17 Giants. You could also be like you, who have had both their starting quarterbacks go down. Correct. That would be rough if you lost Burrow, Kirk, and you might be able to start a guy like Tommy DeVito. I wouldn't be shocked. All right, going into the other horrible game this week, you got Bryce Young going into Tennessee against Will Levis. I don't want to talk about this game. Start D-Hop. Start Derrick Henry, even though he's been struggling. If you start Tyjae Spears, there might be some production there, because they might actually be utilizing Tyjae Spears towards the end of the season. And then maybe start Miles Sanders, maybe. I mean, you definitely could start Thielen, and you could. That's about it for me. I think that's it for me. I'll take Tennessee in this game. I say Tennessee wins 24-21. I just don't think this game matters, personally. And if you bet on this game, that's your choice, because it's a garbage game. It's a little hard to bet on garbage games, because no matter who wins, it doesn't have any impact on the league whatsoever outside of draft picks. And to be honest, Carolina doesn't need a draft pick. Tennessee needs a draft pick. So I wouldn't be shocked if Carolina won this game and Tennessee wins, or Tennessee loses, because they need the draft pick. And Marvin Harrison would be phenomenal on that team after they traded away A.J. Brown. So I wouldn't be shocked. Moving on from this game, because like I said, I did not want to talk about that game at all. We're going to go into the L.A. Rams going to the Arizona Cardinals. This is another game, 4 o'clock game. I just don't see a lot of implications here. Can the Rams make the playoffs? Yes. Is it going to be hard? Hell yes. There's a lot of teams they have to beat, and right now I think they're 2 games out if they win today, because I think Seattle is 6. I think Seattle's 6-4 after the game Thursday. 6-5 after the game Thursday. But San Francisco's 8-3, so they got to make the wild card, and it's hard to make the wild card when you currently have Dallas in the wild card, and you currently have Minnesota in the wild card, and you have Seattle in the wild card. So this is a struggle, man. This is really a struggle. I think Arizona wins just because they don't need the draft pick, right? Like, they've got a very solid team, and they just need to see what Kyler can do. I agree with you. I also have not seen. Is Cooper Kupp active today? Because I know Cooper Kupp's been dealing with injury all week. So, and me and Wheels talked about this. There's a reason I didn't like Cooper Kupp. Yeah, he had a great 5-game stretch. Great. What has he done since? What has he done before that? And this is a tough one for a lot of people out there who, went and drafted Cooper Kupp in the 2nd and 3rd round. Oh, I'm dropping pens. Yeah, this is gonna be an interesting one, right? Right, Wheels? Like, it's gonna be weird. I think Kyler's a stardom today against the Rams defense. I don't know if that secondary can hold up against Kyler. I think that Mike Wilson is out, so like Marquise Brown is the target for that team over there. That's another one you got to keep in mind. You got Marquise Brown, you got Rondale Moore, both those guys. I love Trey McBride in this game. Like, it's going to be hard to stop Trey McBride. This team is, but you got James Conner back. So Kupp is active, but he's been dealing with injury. I agree. I forgot. That's what I was going to say when I went to the ground. He was removed from the team's injury report, but he's been dealing with a low ankle sprain, and we all know what that does. It's 30 years old. I mean, he's the same age as Michael Thomas. Actually, he's 1 year younger than Michael Thomas. It's just one of those things, man, like dealing with injury, and the guy's a route runner, so he needs his ankles. I mean, I'm not going to say he's not a burner, but he's not the fastest receiver out on the field. He's just a phenomenal route runner. So I'm going to give this one, like, I think you could start Puka in this game. I think he's going to have a good amount of targets. I think you could start... You might be able to start Darrell Henderson against this run defense, but outside of that, is Tutu? Are we capable of starting Tutu after last week? I don't think so. I mean, 3 targets, 1 reception, not looking good. Week before that, 7 targets, 4 receptions, not looking good. He's only gotten 13 yards on those 4 receptions. Outside of the game where he stole the touchdown, Tutu has not been anything ever since Puka's been back, or ever since Cooper's been back. So I don't know if you could start Tutu. It's just rough. I mean, Stafford continues to offer low weekly ceiling, so Stafford's going to be throwing, dealing with that injury. I don't know if you could start Stafford at this point either. I think, is Kyren actually officially back? Because I don't see him on. Darrell Henderson Jr. back with the Rams. I didn't take long. I saw that. Kyren Williams, what says Kyren Williams activated off the injury report. The LA Rams have activated Kyren Williams off their injured reserve, setting him up to play Week 12. Williams was not to be a late round. Okay, so he's possible that Kyren is back. So Darrell Henderson might not be a good start, especially if they actually do play Kyren Williams. Now, Kyren Williams, the question is he a starter? That's the question. Can you start him Week 1 back? And I'm going to tell you the same thing I tell you with all running backs or almost any player that's coming off the IR. Give it a week. Give it a week. Find somebody else. Give it a week. Do not start him. So I don't know if I like starting any of these guys in that backfield then because of that, right? Like that's my thought process here. Now, Arizona, I think you could start James Conner. I think you could start, like I said, I think you could almost start the entire offense in Arizona. I think it's going to go and have a decent game. I like Trey McBride. I like Rondale Moore. I like Marquise Brown. The Rams defense is not anything to fear unless you are Kyler Murray. And I think Kyler Murray is fast enough that it's not a big deal. So I'm going to take Arizona in this game. And again, this game really doesn't matter too much. Both these teams are in the same division. It's a divisional rivalry. It's going to be heated. It's going to be close. But at the same time, like, the only team playing for something is the Rams. And I just don't know if they're good enough to play in this league this year. They got a lot to improve on. And I know that sounds crazy. It's the NFL. It's any given Sunday. But I think they got a lot to improve on. So I'm gonna take Arizona in this one. And I'm going to take Arizona going for, let's say, they only scored 17 last week, but they got a stolen touchdown from them. I'm going to say 27-7. Let's go 27-20 Arizona. 27-20 Arizona. A lot of high-scoring games this week, actually. What's the over-under on this game? The over-under on this game is 45.5. I'm actually right there. I'm at 47. So LA's favored by 2.5 going into Arizona. Now, that's a weird line. I definitely would take Arizona with that because there's no reason that LA should be favored. No reason. I mean, I understand why they're favored, but I don't think there's a reason they should be favored. Arizona's defense has been playing phenomenal all year. If you look at what they did to Houston, you look at what they've done to Cleveland. Well, they didn't do much to Cleveland. But you look at what they did to the Ravens. I mean, they kind of held the Ravens a good point, and then they started scoring on the Ravens. You look at what they did to Dallas. They beat Dallas. So, I mean, this Arizona defense has been playing very good all year, and I wouldn't be shocked if they played and won this game. Going into that next game, obviously, Wheels has this as our game of the week. It's in our thumbnail. I think the reason that this is a good game of the week, the Browns Broncos, because the Broncos have been firing on all cylinders. Broncos have been hot. I think they're on a 4-game winning streak, which is phenomenal. And the Browns are in the wild card right now, and the Broncos are playing for the wild card also. There could be a lot of implications. Did I lose signal? Oh, there we go. There we go. All right, so we're back. I apologize. You're missing McLeod, who that's going to be a struggle. Missing McLeod and Denzel Ward. I still think there's plenty of depth in the secondary. And again, they signed somebody who's, I can't remember his name. He's 32 years old, but they signed him as a safety to help with the depth piece and to give guys breathers. So and he was I think he made the Pro Bowl 4 times in the NFL. So that's a huge. I mean, that's good. That's good for us to sign a guy like that. And then I think we solidified a defensive end guy too. I have to take a look at it, but they're just building depth on this defense. So I think Denver, like I said, is firing on all cylinders. It's going to be hard to cover Jerry Jeudy and Cortland Sutton in this game with injured corners. Like Denzel Ward would have been phenomenal in this game. We needed him in this game, and now we have to score offensively. I think offensively we have to fight this game out, and I think it's going to be somewhere in the 20s. I think I might be with Wheels on this one because Wheels is consistently taking the Browns or the opposing team. I think Denver wins this game, and this is I'm trying not to be a homer. I'm trying to be an unbiased critic. I think Denver wins this game 24-20. It's tough. I think it's 24-20 Denver. As a Browns fan, I just don't know if you have the offensive production. Now, we could be wrong, right? They could put in Flacco, and this changes for me. If they put in Flacco, it's non-starters for me this week. I don't start Amari Cooper. If DTR's in, I start in Njoku, and I might start Kareem Hunt for the end zone. That's it. That's it on the Browns. Maybe Elijah Moore for the targets because he's a slot receiver, but that's it. That is seriously it. And then from there, Denver, I'd probably start Cortland. I'd start Jerry Jeudy. I like Russell Wilson. Now the problem is the Browns defense as good as the Browns defense should be, and Russell Wilson could struggle in this game. It could be tough. He could throw 2 interceptions. He can get sacked 5 times. So there's a possibility that Russell does struggle in this game, and I think it's probably a high possibility, right? Like, I think the Browns defense is playing historic, and they're coming at every single guy. I just don't know if you can do the same thing when you're out corners because you got to keep a good pressure. So that's going to be the hard part. So I think Russell Wilson, like I said, has been playing better than Russell Wilson played last year, hands down. So it's going to be a tough one. I'm going to take Denver in this game. Like I said, I don't know if I like anybody else outside of those few guys. Dulcich is back, but he's out for week 12. And then they have Adam Troutman, who's been their backup, who's been consistent at tight end. But they're not targeting their tight ends because he's finally getting connection with Jeudy and all them. So Marvin Mims got 3 targets last week. I still don't like him. I don't think Marvin Mims is that guy as a rookie. I didn't think it coming into the NFL, to be honest with you. And then Javonte Williams, any running back against Cleveland, and I know a lot of people are like, you're an idiot, don't say that. But any running back against Cleveland, I'd start. I'd start him. I'd start Javonte Williams, and I'd possibly start... I don't know if I could start Jaleel. Maybe, because in the screen game, Jaleel's good, and we get destroyed in the screen game. So, maybe start Jaleel McLaughlin. Maybe. So those are my startums for that game. Moving on from that game, getting into the KC at the Raiders. There's so much I want to say in this game, but I don't want to talk too much about it. KC should win this game, but the way the Raiders have been firing, they can win this game. But I will tell you, KC's defense is that good. So I'm going to give this game to Kansas City all day. And then I'd start Isaiah Pacheco, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, and I'd leave it at that on that offense. And then the Raiders, I think you have to start Devontae Adams, Jacoby Myers. I know that they had a guy, and I keep forgetting his name, which is driving me insane. They had a receiver that had a good game last week in Trey Tucker, I think. Yeah, Trey Tucker had 7 targets, 2 receptions, 36 yards. So as much as he got targeted last week, I kind of like Trey Tucker. I'm not starting. You're talking Hunter Renfrow? I'm not starting Hunter Renfrow. Oh, maybe. Yeah, Renfro did have a better game in receptions wise, but he 5 for 5. But Trey Tucker got 7 targets, which is weird because he only caught 2 balls. So maybe keep an eye out on both these guys because Trey Tucker is a rookie, and Hunter Renfro is like a 5th-year guy, 4-year guy. So I kind of like to look at Trey Tucker, and I wouldn't be shocked if Hunter Renfro was not on this team next year because I think they accepted his 4th-year option or signed him to a year, and he's out. So I wouldn't be shocked if Hunter Renfro's out with Trey Tucker coming in. That being said, Kansas City wins this game 35-21. I know that sounds crazy, but Kansas City need a game like this, and they're favored by 9.5. So I have them covering. KC to cover. That's crazy. I haven't had a cover like that in a while, especially 9.5 spread. Miami. I had Miami covering. Moving on from that KC game, because a lot of people kind of feel like that game's going to go a certain way. This game is probably the best game of the week. I understand Buffalo's been struggling. I understand Philly has been one of the most dominant teams in the NFL. A 9-1 Philly going against, was it 6-5 Buffalo? 9-1 Philly. Where's the Buffalo game? There it is. Yeah, 9-1 going against a 6-5 Buffalo. This has such wild card implications. Philly does not have to win this game. After Detroit lost, Philly's still up by 2 games in the NFC. Philly does not have to win this game. They do not. Buffalo must win this game. Must win this game. This is a must win for Buffalo. If they lose this game, Buffalo is going to be fighting for a 3rd wild card spot at this point. So, and as of right now, I don't know if Buffalo can beat any of the teams in the wild card. So they need to win this game. I am going to put this game on Buffalo. I'm making Buffalo win this game. I'm making them win this game. I'm going to say Buffalo wins this game, and it's going to be 27-24. And I'm going to call it in overtime. I know that's crazy. But that's how I think it goes. So, Buffalo +3 in OT. I like your decision, Wheels. I like your decision. You went the opposite way. So, I just think Buffalo needs this game more than anything. And I truly believe that Philly's secondary is soft. It is soft. They're struggling against the pass. So if Josh Allen just slings it all day to Gabe Davis and Stephon Diggs, I think that's successful for him. So this could be a nice Josh Allen day. Stardoms for me. I just said 2 of them. So I like Gabe Davis. I like Stephon Diggs. I like James Cook in this game. Now Philly's defense has been very good against the run, but I like him in the screen game. That's why I like James Cook. Josh Allen, I think you have to start. I think he's still the top 5 fantasy quarterback. So I think you have to start him. Philly, Jalen Hurts, you have to start him. Top 5 quarterback. I think you can start Swift. It's going to be a little tougher. I prefer you start, because both these secondaries are old, I prefer you start A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith in this game. I don't know if I like their tight end, because if you look at the last game, their production was missing at tight end. That's actually the one thing that Philly's been missing is tight end production. So I don't know if I could start a tight end on this team yet. They took the tight end from Dallas Agwagbunum. I don't know. I think Jack Stoll had more targets than him, because I remember Jack Stoll having a few. Yeah, Jack Stoll ended up getting more targets than him. So I just don't like tight ends in Philly right now. I forgot. Dalton Kincaid's a definite stardom. That's a definite stardom. The way they're targeting him, it's a definite stardom. They're going to have to throw the ball 35 to 40 times this game, to be honest with you, to win this game. So that's where I got that game going. And then last game of the day, you have the Baltimore Ravens going into LA playing the Chargers. This one's going to be an interesting game, right? I think hands down, I think the Ravens should win this game. This should be the Ravens win. But Justin Herbert knows how to sling it. And if it doesn't come down to a fourth quarter throw, I think Justin Herbert can win this game. Now, the Ravens are favored by 3, which means Vegas doesn't know who's going to win, which shows you how good that 4-7 team is for the Chargers. It is very good. If the Chargers lose today, there will be head coaching changes, I think, on the Chargers. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Now, I know they're missing Bosa, but one of the best things, I think they're missing Bosa. I think Joey's out because Joey's out. Like, I think he didn't tear his knee or something like that. I know he went out in the last game. So I think that this could be another game that's super high scoring. It's actually 48.5. Oh, now I kind of want to take the under. I'm going to go Chargers, super productive team, super productive. Against the Ravens, who, if you're smart as the Chargers, you don't let them get the ball. Like, you just kind of use the run game that you don't have in reality. Austin Eckler, start him. Justin Herbert, start him. Keenan Allen, is he active today? I know he's been dealing with injury. But I think Allen, he had a shoulder injury. Damn it, not Josh Allen. I think he had a shoulder injury. He will play. Keenan Allen is active. He will play today. Both these teams, I think that's their struggle is at receiver, not at running back. But I definitely think Lamar Jackson, start him. Zay Flowers, start him. Tight end, I don't know if I'm ready to start Isaiah Likely since Mark Andrews is out. By the way, Mark Andrews was only put on the IR, which means he might be back for the playoffs. It wasn't as bad as they thought the injury was. So everybody talk about that hip tackle. Quit your freaking whining. So sick of it. It's part of football. You don't like getting tackled from the waist? Go play freaking soccer. Just stop it. I don't want to jump on the bandwagon of the Ravens because I don't think they're untouchable. They're 8-3. And the Chargers is one of those few teams that can put the points up, right? Like, they can put the points up. It's not incapable of them to do so. I'm going to say 34-30. Do I want to go? I'm going to go 34-30 Chargers. I'm going to say it. I'm going to say Chargers. So I got 2 upsets this week. I got the Chargers, and then I thought I had 2 upsets. Oh, yeah, Chargers and Buffalo. 2 primetime upsets. Well, Buffalo's 4. So that's what I got for upsets this week. Don't forget, we have a Monday night game. I think it's Chicago. Nobody's going to care to see it. I get it. Whatever. We do have a Monday night game. You have Chicago against Minnesota. So implications are for Minnesota. And I think Minnesota has to win that game. They're favored by 3 at home. So we'll talk about that game tomorrow. Hopefully Wheels will be here with me, and we will have the conversations on that game. That being said, I have to head out. I have a breakfast to get to, and I hope you guys have a wonderful Sunday and enjoy the rest of your holiday weekend. Can't wait to see you guys tomorrow. Bye.